a thumbs up if I am. Good evening, everybody. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to CyberSprint, organized by the Code Crafters Society. I am Tanya, and I am thrilled to kick off this exciting journey with all of you. CyberSprint is going to be a 10-day journey designed to empower you with foundational to advanced concepts in cybersecurity across engaging sessions, hands-on workshops, and a thrilling CTF hackathon. You'll explore the dynamic world of cybersecurity. Today's session, Introduction to Cybersecurity and Ethical Hacking, sets the stage for everything to come. Here's what's on the agenda: key cybersecurity concepts and threat landscape, understanding the CIA triad and various types of hackers, exploring cyber ethics and legal boundaries, insights into careers in cybersecurity, an introduction to the exciting world of capture the flag challenges. Towards the end of today's session, we will have a Q&A segment where you can ask any questions you have about the topics that will be covered in this session. A link will be provided in the chat section. Ask your questions there and I will forward it to our guest. This is a great opportunity to get insights directly from our expert, so don't hold back. Before we dive in, I have the honor of introducing our esteemed guest for today's session, Mr. Nishant Mehta. Nishant Mehta is a cybersecurity professional with over 7 years of experience, currently working as deputy manager at Protiviti. Previously, he served as a consultant at EY and as an associate consultant at Atos Intel. His expertise spans across security assessments, risk management, and compliance. He has conducted swift customer service controls framework assessments, information security management systems audits, and worked extensively on information risk remediation and policy development aligned with ISO 27001, National Institute of Standards and Technology, Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard, and General Data Protection Regulation standards. He has hands-on experience with tools such as Burp Suite, Fortify, Microsoft 365, and ServiceNow. Mr. Mehta holds a postgraduate certification in cybersecurity and data science from IIM Nagpur, a BTech in computer science, and is a certified ethical hacker. He is recognized for delivering high impact results, strong leadership, and helping organizations strengthen their cybersecurity posture. We are incredibly fortunate to have Mr. Mehta here to share their expertise and guide us through this session. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Mr. Nishant Mehta. Over to you, Mehta sir. The stage is all yours.
Thank you, Tanya. Thank you for the warm welcome and welcome everybody. Hope everyone is doing good. Am I audible clearly, right?
Yes, sir, you are.
Okay, okay, fine, fine, fine. I think there are some couple of questions I could say like the session will be recorded or what something. So I think Tanya, you can address those questions.
Yes, it will be recorded and it is also being streamed in the Code Crafters YouTube channel.
Okay,
And like you can later watch the recorded session in the channel as well, the Code Crafters YouTube channel.
okay, perfect, perfect, perfect. Thank you. Fine then. Hello everyone. So I will just share my screen. Just allow me some time. So just let me know if my screen is visible to everyone. Okay, fine then. Hello everyone. So we'll be learning about like basic introductions to cybersecurity and ethical hacking. So like before diving into that, I would like to introduce myself once again, like I think Tanya has done already. So about me, it is like I'm Nishant Mehta with around 7+ years of experience into cybersecurity. So currently working as a deputy manager with Protiviti and previously I was working with EY and Atos. So I started my career as a software developer for a very short time period. Then while I was with Atos Intel, that time I got chance to be part of their cyber program. So that time initially I got chance to do some research and development on documentation part. Then for a couple of years I got chance to work upon their VAPT project. Then I was majorly currently I'm working into the governance, risk and compliance part. That is not actually the VAPT part, but majorly I worked on the risk management, vendor management, and risk associated and cyber attacks associated with them. How can we mitigate those risks and all? So here are my contact details. You can reach out me on my contact number, my email, anyone. My LinkedIn is also mentioned into the presentation slide. So Tana, this presentation will be shared with the fellow joiners, right?
Yes, sir, everyone is able to view this presentation.
Okay, fine, 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 fine. So moving towards our agenda of the day. So we will see like what is cybersecurity, all the key concepts and the threat landscape. We will learn about the CI triad, and I have included a couple of case studies to get more like a real-time understanding how CI can be implemented and why are they important into cybersecurity. Then we will jump on types of hackers, what are the cyber ethics, what are the measures and best practices we need to follow uh, to have to keep a hygienic environment while dealing with the cybersecurity and all. Again, like I included one more topic from my end, that is defense in depth approach. So it is kind of a strategic approach that we utilize while performing the actual cybersecurity implementation and remediation. Then there are a couple of points. We will talk about legal consideration. Here we will talk about a couple of cyber laws, a couple of regulations that are in place at global level, and most of the organizations who are on ground, they need to be compliant with all those regulations and the laws. Then I will give you an overview about the capture the flag competition, basic introduction about the Kali Linux, how can we, uh, what are the basic terminals and everything, what are the tools we have in Kali Linux and everything. And just at the last, we will talk about career opportunities and how can we grow in cybersecurity. So let's move to another slide. So we will talk about what is cybersecurity. So we could see like uh, before I start, I would like to understand like from any one of you, like if you have anything understanding like what is cybersecurity, if you have learned about it previously, if you have read about it somewhere. So anyone can raise their hand and can unmute themselves and can reply. Okay, fine. Fine. So what does cybersecurity? What is cybersecurity? It refers to the practices to protect systems. Systems here I'm talking about all kind of systems. It could be a software, it could be any data centers that we have, it could be any assets, it could be simply our mobile phone as well. So such kind of systems, their security, networks programs, such kind of like we have multiple devices over the network, such as like Wi-Fi router, um, Ethernet LAN clubs, and everything. So that part also we will talk need to secure the network communications like our information flows over the network. So data cybersecurity refers to how can we protect all this kind of data from cyber attacks, which is also known as the digital attacks as well. So like why are these attacks generally happen? So the main motive behind especially the motive behind this such kind of attacks is like to gain unauthorized access to the information. What is authorization and unauthorization we will see in upcoming slides. But in brief, I would like to explain like gaining unauthorized access is something like to get into the data, you are not allowed to be, you are not allowed to access something. For example, there are some portals, and for example, it is my email account, I will say, and someone else is trying to get into that. So that is, it will be called as an unauthorized access, right? My email access it is only allowed to me only, no one else who is not authorized to do so. So it will be kind of an unauthorized access. So what is another motive? Like destroying the or altering the sensitive information. We might have come across the part like we might have heard about some incidents where like some people with bad intentions try to alter the informations, delete some sensitive information or any kind of the data, or they try to manipulate the data to spread the mislead information kind of things. And last motivation will be interrupting normal business processes. So there are a couple of attacks I will explain. For example, it is DDoS attack. You might have heard about it previously or not. It is kind of a distributed denial of a service attack. What it happens, it stops or halts the business processes for some couple of time. It could be time limit may vary from the severity of impact of the attack, but processes will stop. So what will happen? So services which are delivering by respective organization or business, so those services will be unavailable to respective legitimate users. So these are the generally primary motivations that attackers have behind performing any kind of cyber attack. Now, what does cybersecurity mean? It is kind of, we can say like it is a club of strategies, multiple strategies, we can say tools. There are various tools that we utilize to perform cyber scanning, to identify the attack, to mitigate the attack, to remediate the attack. And there are multiple techniques. So it is kind of like we can see the bunch of multiple things. such as strategies, tools, techniques, which are designed to safeguard digital assets, especially from both internal as well as external attackers. Okay, so what is internal and external? It is something like, for example, I am part of the organization and I am trying to disclose some confidential information of my organization. So what it will, I'm an internal person. Still, my motive is to uh, alter the information and spread the confidential information to the world, which is not supposed to be readable or visible to some unauthorized or illegitimate users. So such kind of attackers called as the insider attacks, and external attackers are like the hackers or some uh, hackers kind of people who perform cyber attacks on the respective business or respective assets. So any question on this part anyone can raise? I think let me see. Questions do we have?
Sir, we are doing the questions part towards the end, like after this session.
Okay, okay, fine, fine, fine. Perfect then.
Okay.
Okay. So now let's move to another concept, which is here we will talk about like basic cybersecurity concepts and the threat landscape. Okay. So under key concept, you can see authentication, authorization, vulnerability, threat, and risk. So these are very basic key concepts which are very necessary for any individual who is pursuing into the cybersecurity. So what does authentication mean? It is something. It is a process of verifying the identity of a user or any device or any entity. So for example, let's say our ID cards. Okay. So it will identify who are we. In simple words, if you see, who are we? Authentication is something. It is a process to verify who are we. So it will see whether the user is a legitimate user or not. For example, I have, you guys might be having all your, having some email IDs or your student ID, something with you. So this ID will be used as your authentication part. Just a simple example I'm giving you. And second part is something, what does authorization mean? So it is the process of giving someone ability to access some resources. So authorization simply is word, it talks about like uh, I am the user and what part of data or information I am authorized to access. In other word, what is accessible to me? Okay, I have authenticated myself. I have provided my um valid credentials to get authenticated. But what I'm authorized to do so? Okay, in simple hierarchy, if we will see. Okay, you are a student. You are authorized to do some couple of activities in your institute, but you are not authorized to do the activities which your uh, faculties are allowed to do so. Okay, and if we go above the hierarchy, whatever the accesses or authorizations your principal might be having, your professors might not be have. So it is a kind of hierarchy. In simple word, we will say authorization means it is a process to identify what respective individual is authorized or allowed to access or allowed to perform any activity. Okay. Now, what does vulnerability mean? So it is in simple word we can say a weakness in any system or any software or any process. Okay. Which can be exploited by any attacker, cyber attacker, to compromise the respective system. Weakness in the sense if we will say like respective software is not validating credentials correctly. For example, you are entering some random abc@gmail.com kind of email ID and some random password phrase. You are utilizing any random username and password phrase, and if it is allowing you to enter into the system, to get logged in into the system, right? So it is a weakness. What is a weakness? It is not verifying credentials correctly. So what will happen? Attackers will have bunch of number of pairs of credentials and everything. So they can utilize this weakness to get into the system, and once they get access to system, they can do any kind of exploitation, any kind of attacks. They may breach they may breach your sensitive data. They may change the or alter the information. They may mislead. They may get uh, alter the data to mislead the community. Likewise, okay. And what is threat? Okay, it is the potential danger that can negatively impact systems, data, or any operations. Just we will take a previous example only. I said like there is a weakness. Credentials are not getting validated on the login page. Okay, attacker has logged into the system. Attacker has got access. Okay, so what will be potential danger? I just told like attacker may reveal the sensitive information. Attacker may alter the information and may spread the misleading information. For example, likewise, for example, my email is got compromised. Okay, and what will be possible danger? Okay, some that attacker may try to spread some misleading information from my account. Okay, so whoever will receive the information, it will be something like I am sending the information, I am sending the misinformation, but at last what I am not doing that. I am under the attack. My account is under the attack, and my account is compromised. Likewise. So next terminology, next concept is risk. It is like a potential loss or damage to the organization's asset. Likewise, for example, like let's say like it's my official ID, official email ID, the organization I'm working with. Someone has compromised my official email ID. For example, I have a very big password, which is easily guessable to anyone. Okay, and if what happened, like if my official email ID is got compromised, so some attacker what will do? He may try to get access to some confidential information of the organization, and then it may spread over the outsider world from the organization. So what will happen? Confidential information is revealed by my account, and what will be the impact? What will the possible consequences? The organizations may lose their businesses, reputational loss will be there. Likewise, also in my personal case, I might lose my job because of I didn't follow basic practices and basic hygiene of the cybersecurity. Okay. Now coming to the common cyber threats, you might have heard about malware attacks, phishing attacks, DDoS I already explained previously, ransomware attack, data breaches and all. So what is malware attack? So it is something kind of a malicious code, which is designed by any attacker to harm or exploit any computer system, networks or data. How does it work? For example, you might be using some websites and you might be getting too much pop-ups on that. And if you mistakenly, intentionally, unknowingly, you are clicking on that banner. So what will happen? Some code may get downloaded into your phone, into your asset, and it may get installed. So what will happen? So that program is getting installed, so it may try to reveal there are various possibilities, like it may work on keystrokes as well. Whatever you are typing on your laptop, so it will capture all the keystrokes, and it will try to understand, okay, what information is getting typed. So what will happen in such case? If you are on any login pages, or if you are trying to access or log into some, you are putting your credentials somewhere, or for example you are making some payments. So what will happen? Such kind of malware will capture the keystrokes, and it will get reflected to attackers end, and attacker will have visibility, will understand what is your respective PIN, ID, and everything. What is phishing attack? Phishing attack is something like attacker sends a malicious mail. You might be receiving, you might have received or not. I'm not sure, but you will see like you might be receiving some mail, which appears to be a legitimate mail. But if you observe keenly those mails, it is something like it is if you observe the email ID that you have received the email from and all, you can see it is something doubtful on that part. So what will happen? Attacker will keep some trick. They will ask, okay, you have won such kinds of bonuses. You got a voucher and all. Follow this steps to redeem the voucher and all. So what will it will trick you to click the link, which is kept into the which is into that mail. What will happen once you click that mail? It will take you to some another portal. It will ask you to enter information, to fill some forms and all. So what happens? Like unknowingly, you feel like you are entering the data on a legitimate page, but it is getting reflected on attacker side. Once you click on enter, the information will be sent to the attacker side. Attacker will receive all the information. It could be your personal information, sensitive information such like your credit card numbers, your PIN, UPI ID, your passwords, etc. Okay, next cyber threat is DDoS, that is distributed denial of service attack. So here what happens, like let's take an example. Uh, you might have observed like there is scenario I will say. It is not actually a DDoS attack, but generally what happens if you see anyone might have tried to book a Tatkal ticket. Okay, in morning 10 to 11 and 11 to 12. What happens like multiple users are trying to access the portal. Okay, so what happens like for particular server, for respective server, there is some certain limits to receive n number of requests in n number of time in couple of seconds. But in such case, what happens? Well, let's take an example. IRCTC portal has capability to receive 10 requests in a second. But during that higher peak season, peak Tatkal period, what's happening? We are receiving hundreds of requests in a second. So it is out of capability, and you might have observed like you may receive like site is not reachable. It may take too much time to respond. Likewise, right? So it is a general real time and day to day example I gave you. But what happens? Attackers here it is something like knowingly unknowingly legitimate users are trying to access that IRCTC portal. But in some cases, what happens? Attacker will stimulate sends n number of packets. Packet is something the request we will see in simple word n number of requests to one server at a time, so that what happen those bunch of packets or it is called as a request flood or packet flood in normal language. If once it is get flooded, a server is getting flooded by n number of requests out of capability, the server may crash down or server may get unavailable to users. So in such case, what's happening? Server if server is crashed, so attacker's intention is something is what to make service unavailable to legitimate users. Service is unavailable to legitimate users. Okay. In the beginning, we saw interrupting normal business processes, right? I said if you see third pointer here, interrupting business processes. So here what happened? Server attackers sent n number of packets, n number of requests to compromise the server so that server is unavailable to legitimate users and users will be inaccessible to access the respective services. Now another one is ransomware. It is kind of a malicious software. Again the practice will be similar, just like a malware or phishing can be utilized to perform ransomware attack. Why it is called as a ransomware attack? It is something like once you click on any of the link, malicious link, either your file or your disk or your whole laptop or whole asset will be locked or it will be encrypted and you won't be able to decrypt it without any encryption keys. In such case, what will happen? Why it is called as a ransomware? Attacker will ask for a ransom payment. It will be in millions of dollars or something, and especially they demand it is in cryptocurrency. Okay, so what happened? They will ask for a ransom in cryptocurrency manner, and they try to get some share the decryption keys and all. So here what's happening? Your system is unavailable, your data is unavailable, you are unable to access your data. until and unless you pay the ransom and everything. So it is a ransomware attack in simple word. If you see, sorry, someone want to say something? Fine. Okay, so last one is the data breaches. Okay, so as I mentioned, I think I gave an example of let's take an example of my data breaches is happening. Like someone has compromised my credentials, tried to get into my drive or my email or my portal to get access to the data, which they are not authorized to do so, right? So in simple word, data breach may happen. So it may happen like they will keep the data to themselves only, or they will spread it across. So such kind of attack is called as a data breach attack. So moving to next, the another topic we have is CIA Triad. So generally, CIA is the foundational model, which is generally uh, utilized by cybersecurity to represent the key principles of cybersecurity, that is confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Now, what does confidentiality means? Okay, it is a process to keep any data, not only organizations' data, individuals' data. It could be a private data, sensitive data, all kind of data, and it ensures only authorized people can access the same. Okay, so what is confidentiality? How can we achieve it? Just give me a moment. Okay, I think there is some interruption at my end. Just
Guys, throughout the session, whatever doubts you have, you may ask it in the G form provided in the chat box. And at the end, I'll forward those questions to our guest.
yeah, hi, I'm back. So then you were saying something.
No, sir, I just told them to write their doubts in the G form.
Okay, okay, fine, fine, fine. Sure. Fine, I will just share my screen. My screen is visible, right? Okay. Okay. So where were we? We were on CIA triad, right? Confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So we just talked about what does confidentiality mean. So it is a process to keep organizations or individuals' data private and ensure only authorized user can access it. So how can we achieve confidentiality? We can use encryption while sending sensitive emails or sending sensitive information, right? Again, another approach will be like to have a role-based access control, RBAC. What does it mean? What does it call as? So it is something I just explained like the students access may vary from professor's access, and it may vary from the principal's access, right? Role-wise, designation-wise, access changes. If I give you my example, I'm deputy manager right now, but whatever the role and accesses my manager have or senior manager or director may have, I won't be able to get those accesses, right? Just to ensure the confidentiality. Okay. Now another thing, so it is just to ensure the only authorized person is accessing the respective information. Okay. Now what does integrity mean? Integrity is something like to ensure data remains accurate, complete, trustworthy, and has not been modified by any illegitimate or unauthorized user. So it is something like I just mentioned, like for example, you might have heard about man in the middle attack. What does it called as? Man in the middle attack. For example, you are sending email to URL A. I will just try to find. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you are user A. Okay. You are trying to send some email to B. Okay. So what will happen? Like you are simply sending it is an email. I will say you are sending the email to B. Okay. But what will happen if email is not encrypted? Okay. If email is not encrypted, it may be able to see something attacker. CA, I would say cyber attacker. CA. Okay. What will happen? If it may get into this your email ID or any if you try to reach this communication channel to get this information. So, for example, you might have sent him like email like hello Bob, how are you? Something. Okay, very basic conversation you might have sent or some attachment might be there. What attacker may do, he may alter the information. He may put some wrong languages or some misinformation about Bob, some false languages or some misinformation about Bob. So what will happen? Bob will receive the email. He will he will be like Bob will be like okay. A B will be feel like A has shared the information, some misinformation. Okay, but in backend, what's happening? The attacker has altered the information, put some misinformation into that, and sent it to this Bob. So such kind of attack, what's happening here? Man in the middle. Attacker is the middleman who performs some alteration to the data and send the false information to the receiver. So it will be called as a man in the middle attack. Okay, fine. So what will be the possible measures we can do to achieve integrity? Okay, so hashing the data. Okay, what will happen to achieve the confidentiality? We encrypted the email. But why are we hashing the data? Why? So if you are aware of the hashing algorithms and all, so we add some checksums and everything to hash the respective data, which can be utilized to convert plain text data, simply readable data into the hash data. And encrypted data is reversible. We can decrypt the encrypted data. However, hash data is irreversible. We cannot convert it back into the readable format. Only respective legitimate user who has that hash key checksum with that combination, only respective legitimate user will be able to access that data. Okay. Again, to achieve the integrity, what we can do? We can do regular data backups and restoration. Let's take an example. We just talked about DDoS. Okay. So like n number of requests are flooded by attacker on the data server or the data center, and data center is crashed. It is compromised. Okay, and data is not accessible. Data is not accessible, and there is an interruption of the services. Okay, so what will happen to restore this data center into the uh, initial state? There should be some replication of data. So data backup is nothing but to replicate the data at some another data center at some another geolocation, so that if any such kind of incident happens, we can restore the data from that data backup site or replicated site. Okay. Again, what will happen? Let's take an example. Someone has compromised data. Someone did some alteration or modification, unauthorized modifications to the data. So to get data in its original state, we can utilize backup to restore the original data and to get the trustworthy data which was in its initial state as it is. Now let's jump on the availability part. A system and the data must be accessible when needed, whether during normal operations or in the face of cyber attack, outage, or natural disaster. See, like availability may get compromised not only by DDoS attack. There can be multiple parameters as we see. It not only we cannot align with only cyber attack only. There might be possibilities the power outage may happen. For example, grid failure is happen in particular state, and there is a power outage for undefined time. What will happen? How the operations will work? How so? There should be some backup plan in place so that servers or respective information or respective portal or respective services will be available to users, and there will not be any interruption of the services to get delivered. Okay. Natural disaster, for example, earthquake, it is not in our hands. Flood may happen, some earthquake may happen, anything is possible. So in such scenario, how can we run our operations streamlined without any interruption? So what will be the case? For example, some uh, flood happened in Pune. So what will happen? There should be a backup site. There should be a possibility. Okay, in Mumbai location as well. Okay, if Pune is getting flooded, so respective team or respective operation will work from uh, another location, that is Mumbai location, and that location will be called as a disaster recovery location. Okay, so in the scenario of disaster, to streamline and run operation as it is, just like in their original state, so there should be disaster recovery. So these are some examples I tried to explain here. I will take it step right. Okay, let's jump on the basic case study. Okay, let's take an example like a case study one, first case study. So here, like we are trying to secure healthcare system implementation. Okay, so it generally talks about like implementing secure electronic health record system for a regional hospital network. Hospital name is MedSecure to illustrate how CIA Triad principles are applied in real world scenario. Okay, so let's understand the scenario. MedSecure, a network of five hospitals. Okay, it is a network of five hospitals. It is serving around 500K patients, and they're planning to transition from paper-based system to cloud-based EHR system. What is EHR? Electronic Health Record. Okay, so whatever data is getting filled on the paper form, it will be filled on the cloud-based portal. So just like example, the Google form we have in place right now, something kind of they are trying to implement. Okay, but it is a healthcare department, hospital it is there, so there will be possibility to have capturing sensitive patient data. It could be like a medical insurance, medical histories, prescriptions, billing. When it comes to billing, so it comes to account number and everything part. Okay, so it is a US-based hospital, so they are trying to comply with HIPAA, that is Health Insurance Portability. We will talk about this in our later slide when we will jump on the legal aspects of the cybersecurity. Okay, so like if any one of you want to unmute themselves, just raise your hand, unmute yourself, and just try to. I want to understand like how can we implement CIA in this hospital when they are moving from the traditional paper-based record to electronic health record system. So anyone want to unmute themselves and explain? You can raise your hand and anything. You can no need to like think like wrong or correct answer. Nothing is like that. You can unmute yourself and tell me.
We can give the role-based access to the higher ups in the hospital.
Okay. And, what will be achieved from this, like from role based?
We can achieve that not everyone have the access to the sensitive information.
Good.
So confidentiality will be achieved.
Great, 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 great. Anyone else? What about integrity and availability part?
We can put multiple backup sites for the data so that if one data is under attack, we can use other one.
Perfect, perfect. I think you captured that. It is a five hospital network it is, right? So multi-site, we have to replicate the data. It shouldn't be like we are keeping data at only one site only. It should be replicated to all sites. Okay. So what will be the case? There should be a centralized cloud-based electronic health record system. Okay. Okay. It should have like one portal for uh, hospital one portal for hospital two. Okay. So only it is very correct, right? Yes, Aditya. No, you want to add something, Aditya? You raise your hand. Okay, fine, fine, fine. You can type in or we can discuss it at the end of the session. That is also fine. Fine, no worries.
So can you explain availability once again?
Sure, sure, sure. I will. Okay. So as we see, like system and data must be accessible when needed. Okay. I gave you an example of very in beginning. I gave you an example of this IRCTC portal, right? Okay. What's happening? Multiple users are trying to access, but what's happening? Multiple requests which are getting which are getting received by the server IRCTC server, but it is out of their capability. Server is getting crashed, and most of the users are not able to book their train ticket, Tatkal train ticket. Okay. Another example I will say, you are trying to book your exam forms. Okay. And during exam period, pre-exam period, you are trying to book your exam form. You want to make payments and everything on the university portal. So what will happen? Multiple requests are receiving at the time, and server is getting crashed. What's happening? It is crucial that if you won't fill up the form, if you won't make payment, you won't be able to appear for the examination. But what's happening? In this crucial period, the server is crashed and service is not available to you. Right? So in such case, another case, what will be like? Attacker will do. They will try to send n number of requests. In another one, if you might have heard about, I'm not sure whether you're aware of OSI layer or not. So in there are it is a seven layer architecture. Actually, I haven't included it here right now. So it is seven layer architecture, and one layer is the network layer, which communicates into the packet form, which is nothing but the request. In simple word, I will say request only. What will happen? Attacker will create a bot. Okay, it will share multiple requests from multiple bot systems. Okay, I will draw a light. Wait. Okay, let's take an example. Okay, so it is an attacker system. Okay, what will do? It will prompt to respective systems. Okay, like this, multiple systems. It is B1, B2, bot 2, and bot 3. Okay, what will happen? Let's take an example. Attacker send 100 packets at a time. Okay, to the server. This is our server. Okay, it is server. 100 packets at a time within a second. Okay, so it will create bots and they will also start flooding 100 packets per second on the server. Okay. So what's happening roughly it is getting 400 packets per second. But what if capacity of server is only 200 packets per second? Server may not be able to. What will happen? There is a communication happens. If you are receiving some request, server will acknowledge the request, right? If I'm sending hi to one port or one server, so it will send me back the acknowledgement message. If I'm receiving out of my capacity, I'm receiving the request, so it will be very difficult for me to respond everyone. Let's take an example. If you all start asking me question once at a time, I won't be able to respond you all properly, right? So in this case, what will happen? Service will be unavailable because the legitimate user is not receiving the responses from server end. So they will receive something like server is unavailable, forbidden kind of messages and all. So this is what availability. It is this is how availability will be impacted. Is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, okay. So I just gave an example of DDoS attack here, but there might be another possibilities as well. For example, I said uh, flood and everything kind of situation or network outage, or there might be possibility. Okay, software is released. Okay, you have installed some software from Play Store or Apple Store, anything. Okay, but what's happening? Sir, that respective software is under built. They are trying to release their newer version, but there is some bug which is unresolved, and it is went for a production part, and now that bug is getting compromised, and which is making software not working properly. For example, I will give an example. I was trying to book Shivneri bus ticket. Okay, there is from it is a Maharashtra State Roadways bus portal is there. I was trying to book my bus reserve. I wanted to do my reservations and everything, but there was some glitch into the software. So what's happening? It was not allowing me to. I was able to fill all the information, but there was some glitch with that submit button. I was unable to submit the request and make payments and to book my payments and everything. So in such case, what happening for temporary basis? The service was unavailable to me. So this is some simple example of the availability. Okay, it could be DDoS, it could be software bug, it could be any natural calamity or network outage and everything. Right. For example, you might have faced some difficulty like some cloudy weather is there and your Wi-Fi is not working properly. So this is something like what's happening from service provider side. They are not able to send this ample amount of signals and everything because of cloudy weather. That's why network is not properly accessible. That's why Wi-Fi is not accessible properly. So what's happening? Unavailability of the service for the respective time period. Is it fine now? Okay, thank you. Fine. So let's jump on the case study one. I have created this. Okay. So we can see here. A screen is visible, right?
Yes.
Okay. So see, like for confidentiality part, as mentioned, ensure patient data is available to only authorized personnel. So what are we doing? We can implement encryption. We can encrypt the data. Okay. So there are two possibilities to encrypt the data. One, when data is while we are sending the data over the email or any another communication mode, or when we are storing the data at our system, or it could be on the system locally or on the portal. Okay, so it is called as data at rest and data in transit. Okay, so we should encrypt data in both cases, while sending the data and while storing the data. Okay, access control, I think someone talked about the RBAC, role based access control. It was very like correct measure he suggested. So RBAC should be implemented. Apart from this, what should be there? Multi-factor authentication should be implemented. What is MFA? We will see in another slides in detail. It is something apart from your username and password. There should be some more parameter which will be utilized to validate the user's authentication. Okay. Then audit logs. It is something like to keep a log or track of everything. For example, it is as we know it is EHR system, very crucial system. But what we have to do? We have to make track who has accessed data. Okay. If something happens, like we should have something to track. Okay. Some breach data breach has happened for respect to. So what we will identify? Okay. At let's take an example. Some data has got compromised at 7:30 p.m. today. Okay. And I was logged into the system that time. So it will track all everything. The audit log will capture everything. Okay, this user was logged into system from this log into the portal from this system. System I'm referring to the computer or laptop or mobile. It will track that IP address everything. Okay. Again, it will check. Okay, what transaction has been done. Transaction I'm referring like what activity was done by respective user. Likewise. So such kind of all traces will be there, which will be utilized to check any unauthorized attempt or any suspicious or anomalous activity on the portal. Okay, so okay, challenge is there. Phishing attack targeted hospital staff attempting sale. Okay, just I mentioned, I it will audit log may show like I was logged into the system, but there might be possibility someone tricked me to link on some another links and to get my credentials and logging into the portal. Right. I just mentioned explained phishing attack. So it is a very clear scenario of phishing attack. For example, I'm a receptionist at the hospital, so I'm capturing all the details of the information. But what happening? I'm parallelly using some another sites as well. Some like a social media or something I'm using, and by mistake I'm clicking on any of the banner that I received as an advertisement, and I'm getting some portal. Okay, yeah, I'm got some offer and everything. Likewise, I enter the detail. But what will happen? It will not stop over there. It will capture each and every keystroke. Attacker will analyze. Okay, while accessing the healthcare portal, what were the keystrokes? It will understand that. It will analyze that and will try to get access to the portal, and it may perform any malicious activity. It could be anything. Okay. Another part is integrity. Okay. How the data is accurate. We need to ensure that. So like input validation, like I mentioned, for example, let's take an example. We can add some, if any one of you have developed a front page of the any of the portal, so or any of the form, if you see, what is data validation? If you are trying to enter pin code, so it will not allow you to enter numbers more than 6 digits. Okay, that's the one thing. Again, it will validate whether it will we can give a trait. It will again validate whether valid in pin code is entered or not. Another thing, if there is a field to enter mobile numbers and everything like that. Okay, so what will happen? Only 10-digit number excluding country code. That validation parameter we can include over there. That will be a case. So such kind of validation parameter we can include over there. If we take an example of PAN card, if you are entering PAN card details at some portal, so PAN card is alphanumeric. Okay. So there is also pattern how many numerical digits will be there, how many alphabets will be there. Such it will validate. So thus what it is called as creating a white listing of the data. Patterns of white listing. White listing means allowed pattern. So what will happen? Respect to input field will whatever data we are entering, it will validate the data, enter data with whitelisted data, and will verify whether it is meeting the parameters or not. Okay. Now, what is digital signature? Okay, we know like patient record. It is not something we are not working offline. So there could be digital signature. You might have seen we are getting that option into Adobe Reader as well. We can create a digital signature. So what will happen? It is signed digitally. Okay, so digital signature. It is a vast concept. We can discuss it some other day. But what will happen? Like it will authorize. It will say, okay, authorized person has signed the respective form or respective record. Okay, and again, backup and everything we talked about keeping a backup of the data. If anything happening, if any alteration or manipulation to the SIM record has been happened, so what will happen? We can restore it to the initial form. Okay, and another thing will be the availability part. Ensure EHR system is accessible to authorized user whenever needed. What will be happen to have DDoS protection? Okay, so web application firewall is one of the major. It is kind of firewall only. It is just a web application. Okay, it is over the virtual clouds and everything. Everything. Okay. So implementing the firewall, what will happen? Firewall is used to identify legitimate user request and illegitimate user access, like true request and false request. Okay. So what will happen? It will filter out all the false requests and only legitimate access request will pass through the firewall. And they, so what will happen? As I showcased, like n number of hundreds of requests are receiving per second. But what will happen? One legitimate request may get missed. So what firewall will do? It will filter out all those hundred it and only one which is a legitimate one from authenticated user. It will get it will be received by the server and they will be able to access the services likewise. And disaster recovery is something like in the case of disaster, like someone mentioned, like there are multiple sites, so we can replicate data at multiple locations and all. So that it can be the data portal could be on centralized system, so that it could be accessible at anywhere from any of the hospitals because it is a group of 5 hospitals. So I think we are good on this part. Okay, I will share the documentation as well with you after end of the session. Okay. So another one is about the banking system. Same way. So what will be the case? I think if anyone wants to identify how can we achieve availability through this, can anyone unmute themselves and say that?
So again, we can talk about user access. Other accounts must not have control over our accounts.
Right, right, right. Okay. So it is something like banks they're trying to upgrade to again from a legacy or whatever the legacy operations they are doing. So they're trying to move into the modern platform, and that will be accessible over the mobiles, over the web applications, over the cloud systems, everything. Okay, so what we need to ensure data because banking system, if it is a very crucial system. We know like money is there at last. So and again, our personal identification details, such like a PAN details, authentication details, PIN numbers, and everything. Our credit cards and everything we can access through mobile applications as well nowadays. So such thing we need to make sure. I will share this file as well with you, and I think we will proceed ahead with another one. So which is we will talk about types of hackers. Okay. If you guys have any doubts till now, just fill the form. We will discuss it at the end of this session. Okay. Now coming to the hackers part. Okay. So there are three types of hackers: white hat, black hat, and gray hat hackers. Okay. So let's start with the white hat hackers. So what they do, like they utilize their skills, okay, to enhance system security. How it is, I will explain later. And they often start, often works with the organizations as a consultant, okay, which was my role in my previous firm. I said I worked on BAPT and everything initially, right, during my introduction. So what we used to do, like my role was there, like I was getting performing testing on the web application that time. So what we used to do, we used to perform scanning of the web application. And there was a tool. It used to reflect multiple vulnerabilities. For one of the tool, it application, it showed around, I think, 1,000 plus vulnerabilities. But again, what our thing is, like we used to validate all those things. What is true, what is false, whatever is false vulnerability, we used to exclude them, and whatever has been identified truly, we used to do manual validation. Then we used to do what we used to do. We used to create some documentation kind of statement of procedure kind of we used to create, so that once that SOP is created, we used to mention everything. How can we regenerate the URL? How can we identify the gap? What is the possible vulnerability? What is the possible impact if that vulnerability is getting exploited by attacker? And what will be the possible remediation action, that is mitigation action to resolve that particular vulnerability, right? So vulnerability and everything is, I think everyone is clear on that part, right? So this is what ethical hackers do. Ethical name itself shows. So white hat hackers are also known as ethical hackers. And during my introduction, you mentioned, Tanya mentioned, like I'm certified ethical hacker. So what I did, I was, after completing that certification, I am being a part of one of the organization. I was performing those uh, what we can say simulations of the attack. So what I was authorized to do at some part, at some constant, to do those testings. It could be penetration testing, it could be vulnerability assessment, it could be conducting audit, it could be like identifying the weakness into the system, and having discussion with respective business owners. How can we remediate? How can we mitigate? How can we overcome that weakness so that our organization uh, will not be compromised because of exploitation of that attack. Okay. Now let's move to another one, that is black hat hacker. So it is some another word we can say, it is unethical hacker. Okay. So they are also skilled person. They use their uh, expertise and mastery to perform illegal and harmful activities. Let's take an example of ransomware attack. Okay, they try to get into a system. They try to trick you to enter some link, and your system is totally encrypted. You are not able to access any data from your system. So what happened? They are disrupting the services. What are their intentions? What are their intentions? To gain financial gain. In case of ransomware attack, they are simply asking for a ransom in cryptocurrency in exchange of decryption keys. If we are not giving them whatever they are demanding for, so they will simply like erase the data or delete the data. We will lose our data. Okay. So what will happen once the data is lost? Everything, it makes a major and huge impact on any organization, because in current scenario, if we see, for any of the organization, data and its information is very very crucial asset. Okay. In future, if you guys pursue your career into cybersecurity and everything, if you perform risk management and everything other domains as well, so you will get to know all this part in depth. Okay. So this is what motivation of black hat hacker is: to perform illegal harmful activities, to compromise the data, compromise the system, to make services unavailable to legitimate and authorized users. Okay. So how they do it? They try to identify. They keep on trying identify vulnerabilities and weaknesses into any system. They try to spread malware. as I said, like you're clicking on any banner advertised you have received on your phone, you're in accidentally, even if you click on it, that malware get installed on your system, on your phone or your laptop, and it will track all the data. It will work as a spy. It is also called as a spyware as well. It will work as a spy. You are totally unknown, like something is there into your laptop who is capturing each and every activity and sending it to the respective attacker, and that can, those informations can be utilized to compromise your system and to get advantages from that. Motivation could be anything. As the one is very clear, there could be possibility to have a financial gain, but there might be possibility. For example, I'm working with XYZ firm, okay, but something has happened and I want to take revenge on that firm or revenge on my ex-colleague. I will exploit something. I will try to exploit uh, some attack via him so that he may suffer. Okay. I don't do this practically, but I'm just saying it like just a scenario. I'm saying like it is kind of a revenge case. I'm saying, or in some there would be something. Some are like triggered-minded people are there who just cause something to disturb the services just to create some chaos. That's it. They just enjoy the chaos. That's it. That's why they could do all this. So that could be, this all could be a possible motivation. Okay. Now coming to the gray hat hacker, it is something like operates. They work between both white hat and black hat. So there could be possibility they try to get into the system without permission. Okay. They're trying to get into system data. They're trying to identify the vulnerabilities, weaknesses into the any system, software, portal, whatever. So what happens? They don't have ethical and authorized permission to do that. But what they do, once they identified the weaknesses, vulnerabilities, they let respective organizer know. They make them aware. Okay, this is a weakness in your system, which could be exploited and which may impact your business like this. Okay, so what will happen? Basic recognition. Organizations may thank them. They provide him some respective hackers some recognition. They may provide some compensation for that, and it is simply like bug bounty and everything you might have heard about. So they just enjoy doing that. And capture the flag is something like that only, but it is not actually on the live program. But black gray hat hackers something they do it on the live platform. Okay. So if anything is there, just note down the questions. We can discuss this later. I'm moving to another topic, that is cyber ethics. So what does cyber ethics? It is something like a moral, the principle that we should have in place so that use this, this principle will be helpful for any user to understand how can we use any services, any technology, any data responsibly. So it is something kind of we can say a bible kind of thing, we can say, which should be any user should be abide by all these things. So let's talk about first ethic, that is privacy. Okay. So ensure that any kind of personal data, confidential data, any kind of sensitive data are protected from unauthorized access. Okay, how can we do it? We already discussed like we can encrypt the data, we can implement access controls and everything. Okay, and again like we need to ensure like if we we need to ensure like individuals' privacy right should be respected in current digital world. If we are receiving some kind of information, misleading information, we should validate first instead of spreading it right away. Okay. Integrity. It is promoting the honesty and accuracy of the digital communication, transactions, and the content. Everything it is talking about. So, digital communications, if whatever we are talking right now, it is a digital communication. Whatever you are sending the message and everything, it is a digital communication. Transaction, it could be banking related transactions. We are posting something, we are uploading something, it is a content. But we need to make sure the data and everything is being is not, we are not compromising some data, we are not uh, doing some unauthorized alteration to data to post it. So we know like plagiarism and everything is in place. We are just capturing data online and we are putting it right away in our report. That is nothing but it is a stealing of data kind of thing, we can say. Okay. So we can say, as I said, like avoid creation of and spread of false information. I gave you an example of A is communicating with B, right? A just sent hi to B, but some cyber attacker came into the picture, compromised the data, manipulated the message, added some foul languages, and sent it to B. What was the case? B thought A sent him some uh, misinformation or some false information like that. Okay, so we need to make sure like we need to ensure the data is not getting altered or modified without proper authorization. Okay, so previously we talked about access control, integrity, we talked about authorization, now accountability. Okay, individuals and organizations should be held accountable for their actions in digital spaces. Okay, take responsibility for digital content, behavior, consequences of online actions. Okay, simply, I will give an example. So it is something which is out of CIA triad, that is non-repudiation. Non-repudiation. What does it mean? It is something like, it is like we need to it something, be accountable for whatever you have done. Okay, you cannot deny, right? So it is something, be take responsibility if you have done something. First of all, behave responsibly. But if something has happened from your end, take responsibility and cooperate with the cyber ethics requirement. Okay. Now, fourth one is security. Like it talks about like securing systems, networks, and data from cyber attacks, unauthorized accesses, and vulnerabilities. So, what should we do? Like, what should be done? Like to implement appropriate and appropriate mitigating controls, mitigating measures in your system, in your organization. For example, unauthorized access, you want to avoid, implement multi-factor authentication. Okay. If you don't want your data getting altered and everything, or to stop the spreading of false information, everything, implement proper authorization control. Okay. Implement hashing, implement encryption controls likewise. In such a what we can do, we can protect our system. Okay. Now, access. Ensuring equal access to digital resources and technology for everyone. Okay. Here it is talking about availability as well. Okay. So what we need to make sure like whatever the resources are available, it should be available to everyone. Regard to, there should not be any racism or anything like that. There should not be any barriers. Okay. And the digital divide should be minimized to promote inclusivity. Right. Exactly. So that's what you mean. Like there should not be any barrier or any racism in place, so that whatever kind of data we have, it should be available, but to legitimate users only. It should be who are authenticated users, who are allowed user, we can say in simple words. So it should be accessible to that, but with such parameters should not be in place, like socio-economic status, geographical location, racism, and everything. It should not be there. Now, sixth and last one is digital responsibility. Okay, encouraging ethical behavior in the use of technology, including respecting others' intellectual property rights, avoiding cyberbullying, and ensuring the responsible use of online platforms and tools. What does intellectual property rights mean? For example, um, currently there is some logo we have at place for code crafters, right? And if it is registered, but I'm utilizing it for my own purpose without any authorized approvals and everything, and stating that this logo belongs to me. Trademarks and everything you might have heard, McDonald's and everything. Those are trademarks. If you see, like at the corner, you could see In circle there is TM or R, something is mentioned. What does it replicate? It is an intellectual property of that respective organization, which cannot be used without any authenticated authorization. It cannot be until and unless the respective user is allowed to use with legal approval, we can say. So if you are doing that, that will be like violation of IPR, and there are laws in place for violation of intellectual property rights. Okay, so whatever we are posting publicly on digital platforms, we should be responsible so that we should not, um, what we can say, we should not like do some violation of any intellectual property rights like this. Okay, now moving to another part, that is cybersecurity measures and best practices. So as we talked about, like what could be a best measure? It is like multi-factor authentication. First image you can see here. First image, multi-factor authentication. You can see password is also entered, but there is some approval we are receiving over the phone. Simply, if you are trying to access your Google and if you click on forgot password, so you receive one notification whether it was me or not. Yes, no. If I click on yes, then there is some code which is generated on my laptop or web portal. I will get some three codes on my mobile phone. If I select correct code, then only I will be able to log into my Google account. So what is this? It is a multi-factor authentication, right? So it is two-factor authentication, multi-factor. There could be multiple factors as well. For example, I'm entering my password. I'm entering some code received on my phone. Okay, and apart from there will be some questions. What is my favorite place to visit? XYZ, like that. So it is like multiple factors. They are getting validated to make sure legitimate user is getting into the system or not. Regular software updates. We need to keep on updating our software on regular time. If we are receiving some update the software. Why? What's happening? Like let's take an example. There is one software A version 1. There is another software B. Or there is a new release version. Sorry, version 2. Okay, there might be possibility. Generally, it happens before any release. Generally, what happens? All kind of testing is being performed. Okay, not only user acceptance testing, not only functional testing, not only database testing, but penetration testing and application security testing is also performed nowadays. Why it is performed? Just to identify before any release, before uh, releasing the software, there should not be any active vulnerability like that. What will happen if we are using older version only, but we are receiving update notification on our phone, but we are not updating. We are still using version 1, but which is compromisable. That can be vulnerability still persists in that version 1, which can be exploited by attacker and it can lead to compromise your system or your cell phone, everything, right? But in version 2, what's happening? Respective software developer team has worked on remediating that vulnerability which was existing in version 1. Okay, so that's why regular software updates is required. It could be like if you're using laptop, regularly keep updating your operating system. If you're getting update notification on your mobile phone or on your Apple phone, what to do? Update, go ahead with those updates regularly. Because what happened, it is not something like we can say like it is consuming my data, it will consuming my storage space. Don't think like that. But it is just something, it is newer version is getting replaced by older version, which is newer version is way stronger than older one. Okay, it is not prone to any kind of vulnerability. Now data backups, we can see data backups, regular data backup should be there. Why data backup is required, we already discussed in detail. Now implement firewalls for network traffic filtration. I explained this as well, right? We are receiving 10 requests. Okay, out of 10, 6 requests are illegitimate, invalid requests. What will happen? Firewall will filter those 6 requests and only let those remaining 4 true requests, legitimate requests to pass through the firewall. Rest will be barred at the firewall itself. So there are configurations and everything also comes into the picture. If you are setting up firewall, we need to follow practices. What practices? Regularly, in a defined periodic frequency, revisit your firewall configuration. Are the configuration meeting current attack scenario or not? So this will be best practices over there. Install anti-malware and antivirus solutions. Obviously, like in malware, antivirus and anti-malware, it will detect, okay, if there is something getting downloaded on your system, it will restrict it right away. No malware will get installed on your phone or on your system. Okay, now what are the best practices? Strong password should be utilized. It should not be guessable. Password should not be there. It should be combination. Excuse me, please be on mute. Okay. Okay, so strong passwords we were talking about, like don't use easily guessable password. Your name at the rate your date of birth, very very crucial password it is. ABC at the rate gmail.com, test at the rate 123, very guessable password it is. Again, there is one possibility, social engineering is one part is there, which can be utilized. What will attacker do? It will monitor your activities, day-to-day activities and everything, not only on system, off system as well. So it will observe your behavior, and from that it will guess your password. They have n number of, we can say, dictionary of password, and which is utilized to perform dictionary attack. Okay, it has a combination of username and password. It will turn at that, and if it get a right combination, your system is got exploited. Attacker can get into your system. So try to get, utilize, implement, and practice strong password policy. Avoid clicking any links from suspicious sources. Here, what we are talking about, we are talking about avoiding phishing attacks or getting malware installed on your system. Okay, user awareness. Okay, so what to do? Like, if you are, even if you are any institution or any organization, make sure not only it is not only limited to your official places only or your educational places only. Try to make your family as well aware of the cyber attack. What not to do. Okay, these things I do daily, not daily, like almost mostly I do at my home. I stop my mom not to click that advertisement, not to click on this, not to click on that, because then she comes back to me, something is getting installed. This game I didn't install, it is getting installed on my phone and on. So such way we need to make them aware in their own languages, which is easily understandable to them, and they should be aware of, okay, don't click on any, don't, if we are getting a call asking for OTP, don't share OTP. Such kind of awareness we can share with our family as well. Okay, safe browsing habits. Okay, again, the same things we can say, like don't go for clicking any bar or any suspicious links and everything. And secure endpoint devices. Endpoint devices here I'm referring to your mobile phones, your laptops and everything, your tablets and everything. How can we secure? Install anti-malware solutions, implement multi-factor solutions. Okay, such things we can, again, like on mobile phones we can make some settings so that we will not get any push SMS, push notifications and all. So such things we can implement on our endpoint devices to make it secure from cyber attack. Now this is one strategy I would like to discuss on this part. This is one of the important and one of my favorite topics actually. Defense in depth. It was not in our outline, but I thought it should be included over here. So name itself is stating like defense in depth. Okay. So it is approach which implies this multiple layers of control to protect any organization at asset. Okay. So I will just zoom in. I just want you guys to see this diagram, this picture, this castle diagram. Okay. So here see what we have. Let's take an example. King's chamber is a very important part of any fort or for any castle, right? So there are multiple layers of security we can see. What are they? Moat is there, which is full of crocodiles and other animals. Okay. Then first one is like limited entry points. Okay. What will happen? We have seen Bahubali, right? So once it is shut, no one will be entered into the fort. Still, if someone passes it, guards are there. They will do validation. Okay, what is the purpose? Why are you visiting? Why are you trying to getting into the castle? Likewise, they will validate the identity of the person. Okay, then there are watchtowers. Another one is like high and hard walls are there. Very high walls are there. It is secured from four sides. Then watchtowers are there everywhere, and there are guards who will monitor each and every activity outside the castle and inside the castle. Okay. Then there are inner walls again before getting into the king's chamber. So it is a multi-layer approach, right? Let's take an example. If attacker is able to get into this entry point, he killed the guard, get into this. Okay, what will happen? Watchtowers are there. If they're watching, some attacker is killing the guards and trying to invade this castle, they will kill. They can kill him right away. If not, he won't be able to. They can close the door. Likewise, it will stop the army and everything. So it is a multi-layer approach. Will be easy to protect chamber. What will happen? Okay, if we are not having all these parameters, only we have castle. Only we have this king's chamber standing alone right here. Attacker will directly come to the chamber, enter into it, will kill the king, right? But we have multi-layer here. Even if all layer are not, even if one or two layer are getting compromised, attacker is able to breach those layers. But what will happen? King will get time to get escape from this chamber, right? King is safe at last. Similar way, let's move down. Let's move here. Okay, let's talk it in with respect to the data, right? Data is at the center of the circle. Then application is there, host, where the application is hosted, right? The domain we will see. The internal network, organization internal network. Perimeter is something the external network. Okay. Physical network is something like the physical boundary of the office, right? Okay. There could be CCTV cameras will be there, guards will be there, everything is there. And policy is something the overarching thing. Let's not count it. But these layers are there. Physical, perimeter, internal network, host, application, and data. What's happening if any breach happens at physical layer? So it will be monitored. It will if it is getting compromised, if it gets to the external network of the organization, there might be some possible key factors or key measures to prevent that vulnerability. Okay, or prevent that attack. So it is not directly coming to the data. We are getting some notification. Even if this physical layer is getting breached, we will get notification. We can secure our data by the time. We can take appropriate action. We will get some ample amount of time to get ready with the attack. It is a simple word. Okay, fine. So again, there are a couple of example of like implementing multi-factor authentication, right? no, there is not only username and password, but we are adding some more parameters like to enter in the code which will receive on your phone, or there are some softwares, authentication softwares in place which keeps on generating some numerical value, and that we will need to enter at a real time, then only it will get validated. Network segmentation, we talked about internal and perimeter, right? So we should bifurcate our network. Okay, internal network will be separated from external network, so that if any attacks happening on, why I'm saying that, usually what organizations do on internal network, they keep their data center, their critical servers and everything. External network where we as an employee we are sitting, or guest, if guest or anything is coming, Wi-Fi is there, they are accessing guest network and everything. That is external network. Okay, but what if we are keeping all the critical data centers, servers in the same network only? If any attacker is coming, easily he is getting guest access, he can get in network and can compromise the data server, right? So that's why network segmentation can be here work can be lead as a depends in depth approach. Then implementing of encryption, privilege access management. What is PAM? Privilege access management. It will identify the users with privilege accesses. For example, I am normal user, but some of my manager, whoever it is, has admin access, right? So those access will be called as privilege accesses. So those management should be there. Okay, who has privilege access? Who has admin access? Okay, for what period of time the access has been provided? How what activities are performed? Monitoring those activities likewise. Okay, sometimes it may happen like someone with privilege access performing some suspicious activity to compromise the system. There is also possibility. So that monitoring should be in place. So this is how defense in depth approach works. Okay, moving to legal consideration. You guys want to take break or something, or are you good?
Sir, you may continue.
Okay, fine, sure. Okay. So cyber legal consideration. So what we are referring from here, okay. So like it involves like complex interplay of laws. As I mentioned, there are multiple laws, regulations, ethical principles are in place which are designed to protect any data, any system from any kind of cyber threat or cyber attack. Why are these laws and regulations came into the picture? There was a requirement. We know if we have some procedure or some rule book in place, we will follow that. And if someone is not following, and if something happens, some allegations can be made against respect to person. Okay, you break that rule. That's why this respect to incident happened. Why we could take this action appropriately and more efficiently? Because we had a rules in place, and it was something like everyone needs to be bounded by those rules. They need to follow those rules, and if they are breaking those laws, breaking those rules, respective actions will be taken against the respective individual. Same way, l- cybersecurity is governed by laws like IT Act in India, GDPR, that is Global Data Protection Regulation, sorry, in Europe, and various national regulations are in place. We saw HIPAA previously in our this case study slide, right? PCI DSS we saw, which is more focusing on the payment card industry. Okay, so it is focusing on data security for payment card industry majorly, like whoever the what is payment gateway are there. So how can we secure those? So there are some laws in place. So key legal considerations we can see there are three generally. I thought I should include these three only for now. Data protection law. So these law govern the collection, they monitor what they monitor. Collection of data, how are we processing the data, how are we storing the data, and how are we sharing or transferring the data. Okay. Then there could be again some sub level. How are we securing confidential data, sensitive data? personally identifiable data, personal data, likewise. So what they organization should comply with all these laws, data protection related laws, to protect any sensitive information of their own or of their users, both way, to avoid any penalties or any non-compliances raises any litigation. So, for example, GDPR in Europe. I would like to explain that part. GDPR is something like with regulation in place. Any organization which is working in Europe, okay, or the organizations which are not in Europe but they are accessing, collecting, processing, storing, transferring European citizens' data. They need to comply with this regulation. There are I'm unable to list out the actual phrases, but if a particular breach happens, the organization is liable to pay XYZ amount of as a compensation to respective individual. And again, what right European citizen got from this GDPR regulation? If someone observes like their data or personal data is getting used without their consent, they can file a case like right away for that respective organization to get that without any pre-approved or approved consent, their personal information is getting used. Okay, there might be some cases like there are some cases they mention like for the respective period of time we will keep your data stored in our databases, then we will delete the data. But after that period as well, approved period, even if respective citizen observe that the data is still in the database, they can file and take respective actions. They got this right in Europe. Similar with DPDP, Digital Personal Data Protection Act. It is newly introduced in 2023, and I think it is regulated in 2024 in India. So it is kind of a replica of GDPR Act in India, which is very a good decision we can say taken place by our respective ministry and respective officials to ensure security of data, because having this number of crowd of people in a country and data is getting spread without any responsibility and everything, so it gets very crucial. So that's why DPTP Act is introduced in India. Now let's talk about cybersecurity regulations, laws and legal standards that govern how organizations protect their digital asset, data, network from cyber threats and data breaches. For example, HIPAA, IT Act, PCI we already talked about it. HIPAA, like it majorly talks about healthcare industry, how healthcare related information should be protected. Okay, it is 500 plus pages regulation is act is there in US majorly. So which is majorly mainly talks about healthcare related information. IT Act we already have in place. PCI majorly talks about how can we secure data and respect to assets, majorly those who are working on payment card industry. Okay, and if you are using phone pay, so you can see it is showing like a PCI certified once you open the app, right? So this is what it is actually. Contractual obligation, it is something like nowadays we know like not only one organization is working solely or doing all the services on their own. Okay, let's take an example like we are for this session we are utilizing Google Cloud, right? We are utilizing Google Cloud, Gmeet we are utilizing, it is a cloud service we are utilizing for far. Similar way multiple organizations outsources the services from variety of vendors. So contractual obligation is referring to once we are, for example, I'm running one company and for XYZ services, I'm having contract with B contractor, B vendor. Okay. So what I will do, I will go ahead with some agreement with that. I will include some security clauses there based on a respective like a regional law in place, my information security policy or cyber security policy that are in place, their policies which in place, and the region that a vendor is coming from, those regional law regulation something we will take all those part into consideration and will implement, will finalize the contract. And what will happen if anything happens, if any breach happens? So what will happen? We will be easily identify whose service it is, who is the responsible to for this respective attack that has happened. Okay, so this is all about legal consideration. Let's move to like capture the flag part. Okay, I think we are left with 15 minutes only. I will be a bit fast now. Okay, what is capture the flag competition? Okay, it is a simply an exercise, an activity which is performed by participants. They can do it either individually or in groups, whatever. Okay, so it is something like it. We will get a portal. We will get some challenges. We will get some tasks over there. Okay, sorry. Hmm. So what will happen once we finish or accomplish the task? So what will happen? So once we finish the task and everything, we will capture the flag. We will get a flag that we have achieved that milestone. Likewise, so such way there are multiple platforms such like TryHackMe and all. I have utilized TryHackMe long back. So it gives a portal. It has their own resources also in place which can be utilized. I will just open this for your reference. Let's see. Okay, okay, fine. So if you can see, it is a portal actually over here. If you get, you can see there is a guide and everything is in place. There are labels. How can we start? How can we? What are the tools in place? Nmap is there. Hydra is there. Everything. OS tool is there. Metasploit is there. So you can get a resource material. So also over there. Also you can practice your this CTF activity over there as well. And also it is given as a severity wise. Okay. So I will try to get into that. So let's scroll down into this. This is going to be first one. Okay, we got it. I'm going to log into your input. Okay, break out the cage if you see. So this is how it looks like. Okay, task one, investigate. What is victim's password? Flag, root flag, likewise. Multiple things are there. So what we can do, we can simply join the room. Once we join, we need to click on start machine. It will uh, start a virtual machine. Okay, and from there we can utilize command prompts and everything to get all this information. Once we gather all this information, we can put those answers over here, and our task will be completed. Likewise, there are multiple tasks which we can complete, and we will capture we will accomplish this milestone, and we will can in similar way we can clear all these uh, tasks. Once we complete, we will get our dashboards over there. Likewise, we will get our, it is something like the answer that we have responded in a day. Likewise, again there is a dashboard in place where you can see all your uh, activity tracked. It will be tracked all over here. And in learning section, you can see hands-on training, challenges, getting certified. So there are multiple certifications also in place from TryHackMe, so which are recognizable in industry. Okay, so such way we can get into this learning parts as well from this. So that's all for the try hack me part. Link is there into the PPT. You can utilize this link. Okay. Now moving to the another one. Okay, another one is about the Kali Linux. Unfortunately, I won't be able to demonstrate it because I'm utilizing my official laptop. My personal laptop crashed down, so I couldn't install it. I can't install it on my official laptop. But what I did, I tried to capture some official websites that we have in place from Kali Linux, and there is one material which in depth talk about how can we install and how can we actually utilize this Kali Linux here. Okay, so let's go to this website. Okay. If you go to this, so it is their official website. Here you will find their official documentation. Why we should refer this website? Because it first of all it is an official one, and whatever the recent changes or updates they will do to their product, that will accordingly their material will be replicated. Okay, so you can see introduction. How can we install the Kalerina? Okay, it is talking about on local machines, on your desktop or laptop. Okay, you will get some downloadable installation files and you can boot it and you can install it on your laptop. Virtualization actually in VMware or virtual back, how can we install? If you click on it, I think you should prefer this majorly. Here we can see like we can see for as a virtual machine in Windows, if you're using Apple or Mac OS, so that also you can utilize likewise. Okay, so there are detailed guidelines we have in place. If we see, okay, so such way we can utilize this documentation. Okay, and newly I think they have introduced it is something we can install it on our mobile phones as well. So we can monitor the dashboard from our mobile phones as well. We can see. Okay, so this is how we can utilize this. There are some basic commands are in place for coordinating like listing. You can see like major of the commands are same as it is that we use in Linux command prompt, Linux terminal, right? But there are few like Metasploit. Okay, what it does, it is an inbuilt. These are the inbuilt tools because what will happen like if you are you can utilize your Linux as well, Linux OS as well. But what will you have to do? You will have to install all these tools on your own separately, individually. But if you utilize Kali Linux, generally what will happen? It will have all those packages included in their OS itself, so that no need to install or import any tool explicitly. Okay, so generally it is we can see it is designed OS for network analysts, pen testers, those who work under umbrella of cybersecurity and perform cyber analysis. Generally, we can see it is most preferred operating system for cyber specialists. Okay, so these are some basic commands are in place, and apart from these, let's talk about roles and career in cybersecurity. So there are multiple roles. We can say generally whenever you will get. I started my career as a associate consultant in cybersecurity, but we can grow like we can actually cybersecurity is a very vast domain. So there are multiple domains you see either it could be application security, it could be cloud security, it could be like identity and access management, it could be like if you're into software development and you are more interested into just to do software architectures and everything like just to create an outline or blueprint of the software. So how can we implement security over there? DevSecOps and everything. You might have heard about DevSecOps engineers and everything like that. So, penetration testing, everyone knows. And SOC analyst, malware and network security, we generally call them as a network security analyst as well. Okay. So these are the major career roles are in there. Anyway, it is a very wide umbrella because my current role is I'm not into all these roles. I'm majorly into governance part. So my role is comes into like policy standard development, creating the cybersecurity framework, so which can be utilized by all the organizations to implement their respective and relevant mitigating controls in their own domain. So this is what uh, career opportunities we have into cybersecurity. Apart from this, I thought to include some recognized certifications as well. So very basic course is Security Plus from Comcia. So which can be utilized by individual who is just a beginner, or even if you have some minor small knowledge of cybersecurity, you can start with this certification. Why? Because this certification covers all the domains: network or cryptography or application security, SOC, anything, risk management, anything, all the domains from very basic level. So what will happen? You will get a very good grip on all the basic, uh, what we can say, terminologies of cybersecurity and all. So then from here you can decide like from where you want to go ahead. Either you want to go ahead into application security or identity access management, or you want to go into cloud security, or you want to become a network security professional. Accordingly, then you can what you can do, you can, if you want to become a ethical hacker, that is application security and all part, or pen tester. So you can go ahead with CH or LPT, which are provided by EC Council. Is a vendor for those certifications. So these are also very recognizable certifications, but there are multiple certifications such as OSCP like that, offensive cybersecurity professionals like that. Apart from this, if you want to continue in cloud security, there are certifications provided by Google and AWS. Google Cloud Security Practitioner, Amazon Cloud Security Practitioners likewise. And if you want to be do a career into network security, there are some certifications provided by Cisco, that is Certified Network Security Practitioner. Okay, CCNA, CCNP, you might have heard about it. And one more new thing I came across, it is like KLCP, that is Kali Linux Certified Professional. So it is something like which is provided by Kali Linux provider vendor itself. Like you can go ahead with that certification as well. There are resources I showed already to you, so you can go ahead with those certifications as well to become a certified Kali Linux practitioner. So let's summarize everything. We went through what is cybersecurity and all about, what is CI Triad, their use cases we went through, what is key cyber concept and threat landscape. We again went through types of hackers like white hat, black hat, and gray hat, right? Then cyber ethics, we talked about like six pillar diagram, right? Okay. Then legal consideration, we talked about laws in place, regulations in place, and contractual obligations. Then we briefly talked about CTF competitions. I gave you an overview on Kali Linux, career roles, and that's all from my side. Over to you guys. We are open for questions.
Am I audible?
Oh yeah, Tanya, you are audible.
Okay, thank you, sir. Um, Thank you so much, sir, for such an insightful session. I'm sure everyone found the discussion incredibly valuable and thought-provoking. Now it's time for our Q&A segment. The first question we have is, what are the most common types of cyber attacks organizations face today?
So majorly like I won't like give up exact naming to those attacks, but it is kind of data breach we will observe generally. So as I mentioned in the beginning, like data is a very crucial asset of any organization. So generally what attackers try to do, they try to get capture access to the data of any organization. So data breach is majorly we can see. It could be of any type. It could be ransomware. It could be DDoS, likewise, which are majorly faced by any organization.
Okay, thank you, sir. Next question is, why do companies hire ethical hackers and what problems do they solve?
Okay. So as I mentioned in the beginning only, right? Ethical, like they are. allowed to perform testing on the internal applications of the organization for whom they are authorized for. Okay, it is not like I am hired as an ethical hacker, I will do anything in the organization. No, I will have some limitations within the organization. Okay, so it is something like organizations wants to understand where are they lagging, what are the weaknesses in their own systems, and how can we overcome them. So these ethical hackers are working as a consultant for the organization.
Okay, thank you. Next question is from a student who is a second year cybersecurity student from a small private college. And despite limited resources, he's passionate about the field and dreams of serving national security, possibly as a government cybersecurity expert or ethical hacker. So he
Mhm.
has a series of questions for you. First is any certified courses, platforms, or communities you would recommend?
I just showcased in the end of this our presentation, like we can start with very basic course that I prefer generally. Personally, it is my recommendation. Start with CompTIA Security Plus to clear all your basic terminologies and aspects of the cybersecurity and network security, information security, data security, whatever. So CompTIA certificate covers all those parts. But if you are good on your foundations, they and if you want to go into ethical hacking or penetration testing or network security, whatever you want to go, just finalize that domain. Accordingly, you can proceed ahead with those certifications. As I showed some couple of, I will share my screen once again. I will share my screen once again. Here, if you see, it is it is something there. Like if you have good understanding and if you want to continue into cloud, then you can go ahead with cloud security practitioner kind of courses, which are provided by Google and Amazon. If you want to go into network security part solely, so there are a couple of courses which talks about SOC analysis and all. Currently, I don't remember the name of all the courses, but if required, I can draft it separately and I will share it with the team. Okay.
Okay. The next question he has is how can I find quality internships or real world exposure despite being from a non premium college?
Sorry, can you come again? I will. I couldn't get it.
Okay. He wants to know is that how can he find quality internships or real world exposure despite being from a non premium college?
Doesn't make any sense. Even I'm not from premium college actually. It's all
Okay.
up to you. It's all up to you. I completed my graduation from private college into Pune University. So it is not
Okay.
like we are just doing it from primary college. Even nowadays, it is a very good thing. Like there is stream dedicatedly for cybersecurity, dedicated stream for AI and everything. But when I completed my graduation, there was only like IT and computer science. That's all. So it is the advantage you guys have. Like you can select your path from the very beginning.
Okay. The last he wants to know is that are there any government programs or hackathons students like me should be aware of?
There are actually at the moment I'm not aware of the any portal or name, but sure. Like Tanya, what to do? Like just send me all these questions separately. So I will all the question I would like to address. Okay, but currently I don't remember the names and everything for the portal something at the moment. But I will share it separately, definitely.
Okay,
Because
okay. The questions will be shared with you.
sure, 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 sure.
Okay, okay. And I hope whoever asked these questions, you cleared. And it doesn't matter which college you are from. If you got the right skills, you can make it big in cybersecurity. Next question we have is, in today's cybersecurity job market, is it absolutely necessary to pursue certifications to grow our careers? Or can active learning and consistently sharing knowledge on platforms like LinkedIn also help in building credibility and unlocking good opportunities?
Yeah, I will say like certificate going ahead with certifications and all, it will just like a work as a highlighter for your profile. If you are appearing for jobs and everything somewhere, so then the certifications comes into the picture. Yeah, but consistently you will need to learn. You will need to do practice every day, every minute, what minutes of your work time and everything. So that you need to do on your own. So certificate, even if you plan to go ahead with certification, you need to learn. So learning is not going away. You need to learn at last.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much. Last two questions. Is there a way to detect any malware that might have entered our system unknowingly?
Implementation of antivirus and anti-malware solutions. That's the only thing we can say. Who will detect it in your system? But apart from this, having self-awareness, so we can avoid all this such kind of attacks or installations.
Okay, thank you so much. And last question. What inspired you to pursue a career in cybersecurity and ethical hacking?
Okay. Good question. And one of my favorite one actually. Okay, the thing was like after my 12th. Okay, so I was planning to go ahead with either in commerce field or into law firm. Okay, so I was forced to do graduation into engineering by my parents. I did it, and we had one subject only. We had two subjects, one in our third year as a cyber forensing, and in final we had a cybersecurity. It was very small book, 150 200 pages book on cybersecurity. Okay, then we were not aware how can we pursue, how can we go ahead. Only we were aware like okay, once we are done with computer science, we will do either software development or testing. That's it. But I joined Sintel. Nowadays it is known as Eviden. It was acquired by Atos previously. So what was case? I joined there as a .NET developer. I completed my 3 months training over there. Okay, but somewhere in my mind I was planning for MBA and all things. Actually, I don't want to continue into app development. So it was going on in my mind actually. But what happened? I completed my training. I came to Pune. I reported to my project manager. Only for half day I worked as a software developer. I went to for my lunch, came back. I was untagged from my that respective project, and I received another mail like I'm tagged into cybersecurity. Then I meet my trainers, meet my seniors. They said लोगों को मांग मांग के मिलता है नहीं है, तुमको खुद से मिल रहा है तो ले लो. So this is how it started. Then I got into, and what was the case? Until that time, they were preparing their own cybersecurity lab, and they were finding candidates who already worked on it previously. So by chance, I my final year project was into network security, and it was like securing the banking server from DDoS attack. Okay, so I think they took that into consideration. They tied me into cybersecurity lab project. Initially, I did R&D, research and development, everything. He just wanted to uh, make their candidate and their employees and team members to be aware of each and everything. So that time we did. He said minor to minor things. Just Google it. Just search it. Just do research on it. Do presentation. Give presentation to us at least for 5 minutes on any topic every day. So at the end of the day, we used to give presentation for 5 minutes and to our whole senior team. Such way it started. Then I was actually practically got into client projects. I performed BA, PT, and currently I'm working as an auditor and all. So why auditor? Because I was planning for law and all, auditing and all firms. Something I'm dealing with regulations, laws, and everything. So it is quite relevant. So that's why I'm continuing to that. That is very major motivation for me.
Okay, thank you, sir. I'm sure your story will inspire a lot of people to pursue cybersecurity or switch to cybersecurity.
And again,
Um,
I would like to add here. Sorry for interrupting you, Tanya. So,
yeah, no, go ahead.
so thing is like I'm currently pursuing. It's been almost more than 7 years. I'm doing this into cybersec. So what I get to know last year, I can pursue law into cybersecurity, cyber laws and all as well. So if I would have stopped myself, okay, I don't want to continue into software development or software firm and all. I would have missed this chance. But it took 8 years, but that pursuing law and everything, that gate is open for me at the moment. So it took time, but it is open for me at the moment.
Okay.
So someone was asked like,
Vicky has been
someone
raising
asked
his
like
hand.
they want to get into some network, sorry, government. organizations and all. So if they're pursuing this everything into cybersecurity and if they're proficient into cyber laws and everything, they will get a chance to be part of working with Ministry of Information Broadcasting or Ministry of Law and everything. That is also possibility.
Okay, okay. Vicky, if you have any question for sir, you may go on.
Yes,
You've
I
been
have a
raising your
question.
hand.
Yeah, I have a question. I'm going to start learning the cybersecurity from the government only.
Okay.
So I should ask them for a Linux system or a normal Windows will be helping me
See,
out.
like preferred will be Linux one only. That will be Kali Linux, I will say, because as I said, like it has pre-installed tools and everything. And if you go on a major scale, so you will have to utilize this software only, this operating system only.
No,
So,
because I need to ask for them for the infrastructure. Like I need this thing to learn this thing so then I can go ahead. So I
mhm.
mostly I should ask for the Linux only.
Okay, no, Linux will be more preferred in this case because
Okay.
at last you have to do commands, prompting, and everything, right? You have to work on commands and
Yes.
everything. So
Yes. Yes.
Windows is way easier. So you will lose your hand. You will lose your grip if you get
Yes.
more into Windows. Okay. So for
Yes.
your daily use, personal use, you can utilize Windows. You can make your laptop dual boot or utilize virtual machine, virtual block, and install Kali Linux over there. That is also fine.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Vicky. I think we don't have any more questions. Um, So with this, we can end our Q&A segment. Once again, thank you so much, Sir. We are incredibly grateful for the time and effort you have taken to share your knowledge with us today. On behalf of the Code Crafters team and all the participants, I extend our heartfelt thanks. We hope to have the opportunity to learn from you again in the future. Let's all give a virtual big round of applause for Mr. Nishant Mehta to express our gratitude for him.
Thank you, team. I'm just sharing my screen once again so that anyway, I will be sharing this PPT. But what you guys can do, you can just take a note of my contact email ID and LinkedIn so that you can reach out to me anytime if you get any doubts and
Okay, sir.
everything.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Sure, sure, sure. Fine.
Okay, and with this, we come to the end of today's session. Thank you, everyone, for being a part of today's session. Your active participation and enthusiasm truly added value to our discussion. It's been an excellent start to CyberSprint, and we hope you found the session on cybersecurity fundamentals both informative and inspiring. But this is just the beginning. Join us for session 2 on 22nd June, where we'll explore guardians of the algorithm, building secure, compliant, and scalable AI systems. It's going to be an exciting dive into securing the future of AI, ensuring compliance, and creating scalable solutions. We look forward to seeing you there. Until then, stay curious and keep